profits. So I come from a consulting company. We do boutique consulting for high tech and medicine. We have a different approach. We're not really a tech company. We try and find a hard problem in industry and see if tech can solve it. So it's a little bit of negotiating. And we usually start with the problem and then look for the solution. If people who know diffusion of innovation, we specialize in the chasm. So this project, our client was Stanford Medicine, and they wanted us to look at AI in medicine, and they wanted us to see if we could make it more equitable, because they felt that the poorest in society weren't getting AI, and they also weren't being represented in the data sets. We came up with the Impulse app. This was our project. It became a tool, and now we want to make it a company in San Antonio. So just talking a little bit about the team, because I'm one person up here. We have scientists and developers. Here are all the scientists from Stanford who are working on the project, and they're doing like formal evaluation of equity. And then here are the developers from my consulting company from all over the world. They're a little bit more delinquent looking, who built the app, the prototype app. So just talking about the problem, I think that in the U.S. we struggle with poverty and homelessness, and when you talk about poverty, there's two different kinds. Absolute is what you see on the top. It's kids in Africa who don't have enough food and malnutrition. But there's also relative poverty, people who are born into a society and can't contribute as equally as everyone else. And that's when we talk about homelessness in the U.S., that's usually what we're talking about. So there's about 500,000 homeless in the U.S. in a single night. About 80,000 of them are chronically homeless, and 35,000 of them are youth, many LGBTQ. When we look at across the U.S., California and Florida are really struggling with this problem, but so is Texas. And we might see an increase as Austin kind of becomes more of a tech hub, just like we saw in Seattle and California when the tech hubs took off. When we were talking about getting out of homelessness, if you can't meet your basic needs, then you're dealing with a lot of fears that prevent you from doing things like contributing to the workforce, etc. There's also the digital divide in our society. If you can't afford a cell phone, how do you go to work? So about 70% of panhandling income goes to meet basic needs, but any organization that works with the homeless will beg you not to give money to panhandlers. Here's a nonprofit in California saying, please don't give money to panhandlers. Here's the Canadian police with a sign to the public, please don't give money to panhandlers. And here's the Wyoming police, and I believe that this gentleman was arrested for public drunkenness with about $300 in his pocket for panhandling. And I think the Wyoming police said it the best. They said, we really just want you to give money to structured solutions, people who can really help. Now, there's problems with that because not all people can access nonprofit services, but even if we were just going to give money to panhandlers, only 41% of Americans carry cash. So we're missing out on a lot of money that could be going to nonprofits and to better solutions. The solution that we had at our company was basically Shazam is like an app. You can walk around, you hear a song you like, you hit the button, then you can buy the app. It's pretty simple, it's very impulsive, it's one way to buy music. So we think that people can buy nonprofit services impulsively. So here's the app, you just hit the button, you set how much you want to give. The minimum is $3 or $1, max is $100. And then you can see the nonprofits within 5 miles, and then you can give money. And it sends it out in a pulse. We pay out to the nonprofits once a year, for close partners once every 4 times a year. And then we'll tell you once you give money how many people are going to get it. If we can't do local, we'll go national. So we're in the App Store. We launched last month, both Google and Android, and we have a website which you're welcome to look at. And now I'm going to talk about where we're at right now. So our business structure is pretty simple. We have the free app out. We want to make a paid app, so $1 for the paid app, which allows you to be more granular about how you donate. We take 1% of all funds in the all purchases made through the app, which is less than PayPal would take. And then we our main goal, one of our main metrics is impact. Like, are we actually moving the dial? And because we can look at the geocodes, we can see if the numbers of homelessness in an area go down. About 81% of adults own a smartphone, only 41% carry cash, and even less than that if they're millennial. And there's about 266 million smartphone users. About that much money was, 427 billion was given in the US to nonprofits last year. We think we could increase that. So what I'm asking from the audience is if you know any nonprofits that would want to partner closely with us in San Antonio, I would love to, or Austin, I would love to meet them. If you know anybody in the police department who would want to evaluate the app or be interested in talking about it, I would really appreciate support from the local police. Anybody in city government, same thing. And then if you know of any impact funding, I've just done the whole Austin accelerator route, and honestly, we're not that attractive to VCs because we're not going to make $1 million tomorrow, nor do we intend to. If we made $1 million, we'd be giving out way 99% of it. So, if you have any questions?
Does the Play Store or the app, do you take a percentage of the money that's going through your system?
Not right now, it's all running through PayPal, but we eventually want to add the Apple Pay function, in which case that's going to be a negotiation. Right now we're a for-profit, which is how we got approved. We have to go set up that nonprofit structure, which is a lot harder, and our main goal right now is to get the interactions running and then switch over everything to reduce costs.
There is a nonprofit council in San Antonio, and it is a hub for a series of nonprofits. And starting with them, you could talk to them about your message and then get it to a wider audience than having to go door to door to door to door.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, that would save you some time. There's also, the United Way has a bare necessities email system. About 1,100 people are involved in that. So there's these hub places where you can go visit and get your message. But I had a question about reaching out to someone. You're basing everything on impulse, that they're going to see this and they're going to want to do something. What if they wanted to get to somebody beyond? You would lose that because you couldn't bring them into your zone, right?
I mean, if my intention honestly was to, if people want to have a direct relationship with a nonprofit or with a homeless person directly, I would in no way want to impact that. I believe that those relationships are beneficial to humanity, and that should be done. This is for people who are walking by and they want something convenient. So I'm looking for money that is not really being directed in the right place right now, cash on the street.
Sure.
People who are looking for convenience.
If you're walking downtown, then you're going to probably zone and pick up Haven for Hope, which is in the downtown.
They're already on the app. You can download it right now and see them.
Right.
Yeah, I went for them first because I worked in the hospital here for the last 2 months, and they're super active. I mean, when we discharge from the hospital, a homeless person, that's who we call because we know that they get it done. Mm-hmm. So, but I don't know a lot of the other nonprofits. I wanted to add them. I just wasn't sure who was the most active in the community.
Mm-hmm. So, less than 5% of your revenue is from operating and all that other stuff. So you can retain 1%.
Yeah.
And you can operate that? What scale? What model?
I mean, right now it costs me very little to operate the app. So, but that's why I'm looking for impact funding. Because I think to get fully self-sustaining, we need to reach a point where people are making enough on the app that we can fund. So, like, just basically look towards your some data scientists, some maintenance, and that's probably going to be around $350,000.
Yeah, and the other thing, I think the key performance indicators that you need to get that data is not very accurate. You know as well as I do, so it will fluctuate.
Yeah.
So when you develop your key performance indicators, you should be looking at concrete stuff that you can actually measure. I don't know what you need to figure out what that needs to be, but if you're relying on some type of
That's the reason we developed it. There's very little metrics at all. There's just like U.S. Point in Time survey. Like all we are is kind of like a counterpart to that. So the U.S. Point in Time survey says and that's like a structured formal research. That's the best. So we can measure ourselves against that.
Yeah, so let's figure out a different metric, because I mean, if you're relying on this, a lot of that stuff is estimates.
Yeah.
I guarantee you it's going to show numbers going up all the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's put some up.
Yeah, I would appreciate it.
To tag on to what he's doing, you're already using Google Maps.
Yeah.
Is there a way to reverse and show your proximity to that homeless person or the homeless persons that you're donating and take that data?
That's what we're measuring. We're measuring in geocodes. We aggregate the geocodes. So I mean, keep in mind, this started from researchers wanting to measure homelessness more effectively without marginalizing the population.
Right.
So right now we don't have any real-time estimates. We just do this once every 2 years point-in-time survey. That's people walking out and asking people, waking them up on the street and saying, "Are you homeless and how long?" So it's very heavily invasive. This is the commuter walking by saying, "I see a poor person." So you're not even asking them.
Or who he thinks is a poor person.
Yeah, and it could be somebody sitting in their home saying, "I want to be generous today." So there's a problem with the data, but
It could be a multitude of problems. Multi-incidence,
Yeah.
mental illness.
Yeah. So it's not that granular, but it doesn't impact the population and in some ways.
Measuring who they're giving money to, finding out how those guys are impacting.
That's part of our mandate. So we classify the organizations. GuideStar can tell you who's a tax legal entity. They can't tell you exactly who the community and who the community actually goes to. Like, I mean, having worked in the hospital, I know who we call when we're discharging because I know who's like the most structured collaborator. But that's not obvious on either Google Maps or GuideStar.
Yeah, so if I'm walking down San Pedro Street, right where the highway crosses over, and I impulse something, and I look for local nonprofits, I'm going to see Beat AIDS, right? Because they're right there on East Euclid Street.
I think I have 5 of them in here right now.
So if I give money to Beat AIDS, then I would know by communicating with them how they're impacting the community, and I would have some impact.
But I mean, if you saw them and you live in the neighborhood, I would want you to I want you to have a personal relationship with them, independent of the app. This app is for people who've never been to San Antonio before, are getting hit up for cash, tourists, people who don't know the local area. Sorry.
So, somebody installs an app, they have a relationship with them, so they're going to go under regularly, which is ideal, probably. Is there a way to provide feedback from your app to the users so they can see the impact they're making and the impact the community's making?
No, it's designed to be anonymous. It's designed to be just like cash on the street.
How do we know that?
Like, so I don't track the users. I don't report their names. They don't get receipts, and I don't hit them up regularly.
Okay.
Yeah, we're very much just to replace cash on the street.
I gotcha. And I think of a term called gamification, so it almost encourages people to really like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I did the Shazam thing, basically. So if you look in here, it like gives you like a nice closing line and then a thank you. But yeah, we need the whole thing.
I just ask because there's a sense people carry when they say, hey, this is my impact on the community, or this is the impact of me and the community of other impulse users and what we've done collectively. It could still be anonymous, but it could still be a way for somebody to see like how much or how beneficial this app is to the community. And I think it would be great, even if it was just I envision a map almost that has like blips on it, and it shows like maybe a flip that your logo with the colored rings, and the more that there is, maybe the more impact you're making to that particular site. So kind of
like the number of donations that are donated.
essentially right.
I didn't think that would discourage donations though. If they're already thinking a bunch of money is going into the community and it's not doing anything.
Maybe, yeah.
I would A/B test that. So if I had my ideal budget, so what I told, if I'm talking to scientists or researchers, I'm like, it's going to cost $1 million to effectively test this in urban center like San Francisco or Austin and say whether or not we're having a positive or negative impact. It's going to cost $350 to make the gamification, make it work.
I gotcha.
And that includes like A/B tests and all that. Right now we're looking at the most bare bones interaction I can get off the ground.
My wife is an advocate for orphanages in Haiti, and I'll say we, it's actually she gives generously, and she'll actually fly out there annually, and they actually let her tour and what impact the money she's giving is making with them, and it helps grow that. And now there's a community of people throughout San Antonio, Austin, and surrounding cities that get together annually for like this banquet, and they all sit together and talk about what they're doing, and it encourages them to give more and to also enlist other people to be part of that community.
I would like to do that. The Hustle does that for their newsletter. I don't know the Hustle, but they have like get-togethers. I would love to do that, like social impact
It makes a huge
get-togethers.
impact, but again, just to know that, hey, if I gave $15,000 to this orphanage, this is what my money does. It really helps give that feedback.
That's a good thing. Maybe we should look at doing events. Sorry, I have to sort of. You had a question?
No, just thought we said that maybe you could put there how much money has been, maybe you can put it in a per capita.
We're gonna do. I mean, if we get our full budget, one of our ads features is the blockchain, so it's publicly reported on the website. Like every cent that's donated, like probably aggregated for not anonymity, but in which geocode and which organization it went to. So it'll be highly public data.
How are you going to market the app?
I've been doing Facebook ad campaign just as a trial. I'm getting a ton of clicks, but not a lot of downloads, and I don't really know why. So, I mean, like I said, it's only been live for a month, and we're at the most bare bones interaction it can get off the ground. Our seed funding was research grant, so it's pequeñito. But yeah, so as far as marketing, I probably Facebook ads consider my click-throughs up pretty high. But I have also thought about going through nonprofits or police departments.
Yeah, and then also, if you want to reach the business community, you want to go to LinkedIn.
Yes,
The
we're on
reason you want to
LinkedIn.
think about going to the business community is you're going to have more structured, committed giving. And they could possibly, if somebody got excited about at your app at USAA and they spread the message all over the entire place,
Yeah.
you're going to reach a lot of people. So just mention that.
I mean, our demographic is not really. It's a little bit of everybody. It's not a simple
Yes.
ask. I mean, I'm trying to get a bunch of people to collaborate at once, so I'm having trouble with the impulse purchase app model.
Yeah, you said that your millennials don't carry cash. Is that your target market who you really want to get to?
Yeah, because if you look at the trends,
Because Facebook is not where millennials are sitting
No.
nowadays.
Instagram.
It's Instagram and Snapchat. So if you're
Instagram.
really,
I have a consultant that does Instagram, so I need to get him.
yeah, if you're really thinking that's who you want to get to, you're going to get to Generation X and baby boomers on Facebook, but you're not going to get to your millennials that you're really targeting. So you're wasting money on Facebook ads.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. As you can tell, I'm right on the cusp of millennial.
Well, you might want to invest in some marketing consulting just to give you some ideas about what to do, what to reach.
Yeah, I definitely need. That's in my budget for next year. Like, if I get right now, we're all self-funding out of a consulting agency, so yeah. But I'm doing a business plan for our ask, and marketing is like number one. Because until I can get better app downloads, I can't really do the next step, which is like get some data.
So, in order for a nonprofit to receive the money, they have to sign up with you or provide information?
No, we actually collect I actually collect their credit card donation stuff when we put them into the app, and we can go to their website and just drop a credit card in there. There's ways to make that financial, like to shrink that, but no, so it just goes straight from our credit card and here too. And it has to be over $10 in order to go to the nonprofit.
So you hold it in on some kind of escrow?
Yeah, we have an escrow, and that is a bit of a profit. It does help with the profit model. So, although I'm still not sure about the payouts, like I have a Delphi panel out of Stanford, and they're going to help me with how often. But I talked to a few nonprofit consultants, and they all said they don't want to report the funds. If I was giving it to them once a month, that would make their lives miserable. So they would actually prefer to get it once a year or once every 2 6 months.
So going back to the marketing piece, this is going to sound cheesy, but I think if somebody hits a certain threshold, you just mail them a sticker with a QR code on it, they put it on their cup or their laptop or whatever. And
yes.
literally, they just advertise for you every time they show up somewhere.
I'm collecting emails. So one thing we do collect from all of our users is emails, because I'm a huge email marketing fan from way back. But I think people are getting oversaturated on emails. So I have the stickers. I just have to figure out who my beachhead demographic is, and I honestly don't know that yet. Like, friends and family don't count. I will. They don't count. So until I figure out my beachhead demographic, I can't really do the marketing. Right. My biggest interest has been filming women over 50 on Facebook.
They're walkers or bikers, I mean, guys in their cars, some homeless people.
I'm thinking like businesses like downtown might be more willing to market the app because they're directly affected by the problem.
You really want to invest in marketing. Marketing always precedes getting the management side of it out there.
Okay.
And you want to think about marketing because you're telling me to go from a real situation to a depersonalized app to give. And so you've got to warm that up. You've got to people it up. You might want to get testimonials. You might want to have a one-page website. You got to get people saying, wow, this is really powerful. It was a great way. I knew my money was going to the right place. I didn't have to worry about maybe being hurt by giving someone. And then, just really got to get the people engaged in why they should do this instead of giving into that moment.
Okay. Yeah.
Critical.
Gotcha. I need we live in saying storytelling. I do. I have an idea for a video. I just have cash for a video. I'm gonna have a couple of videographers friends who will do it for cheap.
Cool.
From a business development perspective, I can see a lot of opportunity because I know on a small scale, companies like Chick-fil-A, Walgreens, CVS don't have days they're devoted to charity from a profit standpoint. So I can consider maybe doing like an impulse thing where, like, I don't know if you've heard of Brenda's Day of Walgreens or something along those lines, where you partner with retailers to kind of get a big influx of cash, but even more so help the awareness of kind of what impulse does.
I tried 7-Eleven just because I have a hypothesis that 7-Eleven feeds a lot of the homeless population because it's often in urban areas, often the most affordable and elite food and stuff. At least in California, maybe not here, but I wasn't able to, I didn't make any traction with their corporate headquarters, but yeah, I'm totally willing to partner.
I think you know what the problem is that people just that have that impulse to give money to the panhandlers, right? Mm-hmm. So if you talk about that problem, and maybe you have like stop giving money to panhandlers or something a little bit shorter, and then have your app there, so it would kind of raise awareness. So instead of, when you have that impulse to give to a panhandler, give it to us so we can distribute it in the right areas. It'd be kind of like an education thing, but you would catch people's attention because everybody has that pain and they're, oh, I'm going to give the money to the panhandler.
Well, also,
I feel bad.
A secondary problem is people aren't giving money anymore. I don't know how many of you walked by somebody in the last month. If you live downtown, everybody walks by somebody and said, oh, I don't have any cash on me, sorry. Like, it's become a convenient excuse. And especially for millennials, they really don't have cash. And they're not going to like this. I mean, I shouldn't say that. A lot of people, I talk to people, about 30% of people are like, hey, I volunteer to soup kitchen once a week. I have a homeless guy as my friend. I buy him a sandwich once a week. Like, that's totally different. I wouldn't interfere with that. But yeah, I was thinking, that's why I was thinking the police departments might be willing to partner with us, saying stop giving money to panhandlers, and then the app will go away. Like, here's an alternative, because this Wyoming Police Department got like roundly criticized. I don't know if you've seen this stuff on Facebook, but it's pretty mean about how they didn't understand, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that they were just trying to make a point that trying to be helpful.
Is your thought of partnering with the police departments that panhandling has been outlawed in many places, so here's the next best alternative? Is that the thought, or are you thinking police officers are kind of the first line of outreach?
Maybe, yeah. So it's a little bit of both. Maybe I'm overly biased. I used to live with a man who was a police officer for 3 years, and he used to like take his old socks to work and leave them in the cells for the prisoners because they would arrest people frequently who were drunk in public and were actually homeless, and he was just really compassionate about the so he like it's one way that homelessness is dealt with right now, which is like by arresting people. And in Austin, it's this huge debate because they just made I think having a tent within the city limits legal. And I really think it's a completely unsolved problem. I'm not sure how to add to the debate, but I think that I can help a little bit by pulling some of the cash out of the.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my follow-up thought would be you might. I don't know where you would get this data, but you might look at the places that have the most kind of arrests for homelessness where, I mean, a lot of places have those laws on the books, but they're not necessarily enforced the same way in all places. So perhaps in, I don't know, places where there's much more enforcement, that might be your kind of
Last question.
So he was just telling me, have you ever saw those viral videos on Facebook, Instagram, that it is people that are homeless that they hold up the signs? Mm-hmm. Like what could you give to them to have them have a sign that they hold up that says, stop giving money to me, it's feeding my addiction, instead go to Impulse. And Impulse has been able to get me housing, I don't know what, but whatever you can give to them to help them say there is a better way than just giving to panhandlers.
The only reason I haven't approached panhandlers is because I feel like if I was a panhandler and I was hungry, I would give a crap about my app just coming out a year from now, 6 months from now. I want food today. And so I feel like I really need to give the homeless population proof of concept. Like, when their local nonprofit that feeds them suddenly is able to house 20 more of them because of Impulse, then I can start saying, hey, put out my sticker. But I feel like these people are dealing with real problems, which is food and shelter tonight, and to ask them to promote something that, that if cash is going to solve that problem for them today, I don't want to take that out of their hands. I want to help their nonprofit, and then at the point when their beds expand or there is more money, they get the nonprofit.
That's where your volunteers come in.
Yeah.
Have them print a sign, impulse.com, and stand on the corner.
Yeah.
They're individualized dilemma. Are you
Top of
making it
mind
worse for
alert.
the homeless person? You're not giving them cash instantly.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't want to.
That $20 they're collecting in a day is how they eat, and now they've taken that opportunity away from them by having somebody do it on impulse and send it to some organization.
It's for the marginalized, especially when I pay out once a year. So until I actually, so I feel like it's safe to collect funds for people who wouldn't otherwise donate, or to work with businesses and police organizations who are actively trying to get cash off the street. But it's probably not safe to ask a homeless person, or not equitable to ask a homeless person. Sorry.
I would consider getting in contact with an organization called the Pit Crew in Houston. They do a similar thing. They actually pick up homeless addicts and just people that are in need and really don't have anywhere to go, right? And what they do is that they provide them with temporary shelter until they find placement for them. They also provide them not with money, but with like a resource card. It's almost like an EBT Lone Star card, right? And they're able to go and buy food with it, and strictly food with it, because what you're doing is whenever you're putting the food in the hands of, or not food, but money in the hands of the homeless, you still have the percentage that are going to go and buy alcohol and drugs with it, right? They also do work alongside with HPD, Houston Police Department, where you also bring the law enforcement into it. So if you're doing an application, I'll go ahead and probably get in contact with them, get them.
I mean, I can just load them into their app today.
Yeah,
So
it's called the Pit Crew, and then they also work alongside with Houston Recovery.
Perfect. So like I classified the organizations by addiction services, and then there's a whole thing about how much money they get depending on how many of those they offer. But yeah, so those are the kind of organizations that I want to fund better. I'm not going to replace that service at all. I just want to give them more money.
Or even the collision. So Houston is very commercialized, right? Their recovery and the homelessness there is a big problem, right? A lot of mental illness and things that are going on. The collision is it's a group there in Houston, and I would go ahead and try to contact them and find out what type of resources they're using, and go ahead and put in your application.
Yeah, that would be it. So I will wait this one touch afterwards.
And the last question.
What we're really talking about actually approaching somebody on the street is go to those places that actually help them.
Yeah.
And the people that they've helped, have them carry us on.
Oh, people who are out of, yeah, that would be,
Correct.
yeah. If the organization, so I want to go through the organization to identify the people.
Right, those people
who,
that actually help
yeah.
them.
I think it's safe to ask the organization to ask people, but I don't know if it's safe for me to directly.
Right.
But by safe, I mean ethical. I have a whole panel that tells me who and when I can contact. Anyway, I'd love to talk more about this. I can learn about this stuff all day, but we have the presenters, so thank you.
Thank you.